Russian oligarchs are scrambling to secure their assets as the U.S. works to enforce sanctions against the ultra-rich surrounding President Vladimir Putin. CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge reports.
The wealthiest Russian money, including Vladimir Putin's, has pushed out to sea. Data from marine traffic shows oligarch yachts on the move, including aluminum magnate Oleg Deripaska's $65 million Clio and oil executive Vijit Alexperov's $80 million Galactica Supernova.
No self-respecting oligarch exists without a super yacht. What we're seeing now is hightailing it on the high seas.
The Biden administration created a task force to go after the oligarchs' yachts, their luxury apartments, their money, and their ability to send their kids to fancy college in the West. Financier and anti-corruption advocate Bill Browder says the goal is to get oligarchs to pressure Putin to stop the war.
We're not ready to engage in military warfare. And so there's an expression, we should fight them in the banks if we can't fight them with tanks.
And cracks are appearing. Oligarch Mikhail Friedman founded one of Russia's largest private banks.
So I do not believe that war could be a solution.
And in his London newspaper, one oligarch's son, Yevgeny Lebedev, pleaded with the Russian president to, quote, save the world from annihilation.
The financial pressure is really about undermining support for Vladimir Putin.
Absolutely. Among rank-and-file Russians as well as the oligarchs who help control the economy.
Even before Russia invaded Ukraine, this $100 million yacht, believed to be Putin's, left a German port for safer Russian waters.
He's a former KGB agent, and he has worked his entire career to appear on the surface to be the common man, when below the surface, it's apparent that he has significant wealth stored.
And Catherine Herridge joins me now for more. Catherine, you just told us about this brand new task force. I wonder how it's going to work, though, because obviously with sanctioning Vladimir Putin as an example, his wealth is buried. I mean, nobody knows where it is, where to look for it, how to impact it. So what is this task force going to do to turn up the pressure on those around him so they can, in turn, put more pressure on Putin to stop?
Well, I think one of the big differences is that we're seeing this effort is very formalized within the Justice Department and then the upper ranks of the Justice Department, and it's going to be a multi-agency effort to go after these Russian elites, so the oligarchs, and then those closest to Putin. So it will be organized and then across multiple different financial sectors. But really what you're saying is the most important caveat, which is that Vladimir Putin, former KGB, he's had decades, experts told us, to methodically hide his money. And then add on to that, what we're already seeing with some of the oligarchs is that they're really lawyering up to try and protect these assets. So we've got this more formal approach by the Biden administration to ramp up the pressure, but also that barrier of years of burying these assets and then having some legal protections in place.
There are already a lot of sanctions in place, but of course the energy sector has been untouched. The president has said that is because of the impact it would have here at home. But if it got to that point where sanctions were placed on energy, how would that impact Russia's economy? How would it really hurt President Putin and his country?
Well, former government officials and outside experts and transparency groups all told us very consistently that the energy sector revenue is really how Vladimir Putin is able to line his wallet and also to fund these wars. And until there are meaningful sanctions on the energy sector, he will continue to have this revenue stream coming in. The vulnerability, of course, is with the U.S. and our allies, because any further disruption to the energy supply will likely send prices going even higher. So it's this balancing act, understanding that this is a vital revenue stream for Vladimir Putin, but also a significant downside for consumers, not only in the United States, but also in Europe.
And short of sanctions on the energy sector, does President Biden have any other weapons left? Does he have any other people left to target?
Well, I think we've had an example of that earlier today. What we heard from the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, is that they're now going to put economic sanctions on the Russian defense industry. He said 22 entities will be sanctioned. That matters because we're now looking at one of the other major revenue streams for Putin and the oligarchs, that is effectively going to be debilitated, hampered, in some cases, even shut down. And cutting off the money is not only about, in some ways, defunding this war effort, but also upping the pressure on his closest circle to convince him that there really is not anything to gain by continuing the war in Ukraine, and there's everything to gain by pulling back and finding some kind of exit ramp.
And we will have to wait to see when and if it makes
Hopefully
a difference.
soon.
Yes. Catherine Herridge, thank you so much for your reporting.